Dear ministers, dear ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in the 45-year history of IFTM Top Riza, we are hosting an international panorama, and it's an honor to welcome you here. The key theme, challenges and resilience, we have chosen for IFTM this year aims to show the strength of the travel industry to face the challenges of today and to reflect on the challenges of tomorrow. One of the major ones is, of course, environment. And we would like this international panorama to become a forum for sharing the best practices of sustainable tourism implemented in different countries, as well as the difficulties and the ways for improvement. There is a paradox between tourism and climate change. On the one hand, tourism is highly dependent on climate, as climate determines the very conditions for tourism activities available within a destination. On the other hand, climate change impacts such as extreme temperatures or sea level rise threaten the very existence of the travel industry. Facing the climate emergency, countries need to thoroughly think through their tourism strategy. I would like to share two definitions with you. One on sustainable tourism and the other one on responsible travel. Sustainable tourism, according to UNWTO, is the tourism that takes full account of its current and future economic, social, and environmental impacts, addressing the needs of visitors, the industry, the environment, and host communities. Responsible travel is a term used when referring to the behavior of travelers aspiring to make choices on their trip according to sustainable tourism practices. It is an approach based on responsibility from the tourists, but also from the tour operators. Our aim here today is to show, through collective intelligence and in a spirit of co-construction, how destinations can adapt to climate change. Because the solution for one is not necessarily the solution for everyone. And I invite you to share your experience, your observations, your input on the subject discussed at the end of this session. The countries present here today each have their own history of implementing a sustainable tourism strategy that they will share with us. And we are honored to welcome here today His Excellency Makram El-Kaisi, Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, Jordan. William Rodriguez, Minister of Tourism, Costa Rica. Costas Kumis, Deputy Minister of Tourism, Cyprus. Caroline Le Boucher, CEO, French National Tourism Promotion Agency, Autour France. And the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Tourism of Seychelles excuses himself. I know he was supposed to be there, but due to a late agenda change, he is not able to be with us. He sends his greetings. The subject here is one of discussion, and I would like to start with you, Your Excellency. Jordan is a country with 6 sites listed on UNESCO World Heritage List. With Petra, we can see here today one of the 7 wonders of the world. You've been engaged in ecotourism promotion since 20 years, and you are the first destination of ecotourism in the Middle East. Could you tell us more about the reasons that led you to set up a sustainable tourism strategy?
Well, thank you so much for this important question, and thank you so much for the introduction, because if we are to reflect on the introduction that you have started with, 5 minutes will not be enough, so I'll stick to answer your question. Very happy and honored for Jordan to be the guest of honor for this year, IFTM as well, Top Riza. This is a very, very important not only trade fair and tourism fair, but it is cultural, it is tradition, and all the rituals that come with it. Um, to come to the question that you asked, yes, we have 6 sites inscribed on the World Heritage List of UNESCO, and we're ambitious to make them more. We have submitted another file that was technically very solid, so next year we're expecting another city, and we are also expected this year to submit another file, which is the Marine Park of Aqaba, to protect our marine life and the coral life and the reef that is unique in the Red Sea. You know that the Red Sea is home to millions of kinds of species in the sea, and they're adaptable because, you know, with the global warming that we are witnessing today, this is the only place on Earth that all the corals are adapting to the warmth of water that is increasing. So we need to inscribe it on the World Heritage List of UNESCO as well, just to make sure that we protect it for the coming generations. When we speak about sustainable tourism, we don't speak about short-term strategies. We don't talk about 3 to 5 years program. We're talking about decades to come. We're talking about sites that have to be preserved for the coming generations. And I'll give only one example, and then if I have time, I'll go to other examples in the country. Today, we are home to one of the most important religious sites for Christianity, which is the baptism site. Now, today as we speak, if we speak as Christians, we have 3 very, very important sites for Christianity: the Church of Nativity, the Church of Holy Sepulchre, and the baptism site. Now, what makes the baptism site so unique is that it was the birthplace of the religion itself. Jesus Christ himself was baptized there by John the Baptist. And John the Baptist lived in the area for some time, and then he lived in another part of Jordan where he was imprisoned by King Herodos, and he was killed there. To go back to sustainability, the baptism site in Jordan can be a site visited by millions of people. We have very direct directives, instructions by His Majesty himself, not to compromise the authenticity of the site over the number of tourists. So today, as we speak, we receive almost a quarter million tourists per year. And you know and I know that some sites are important, but not as important as the baptism site in Jordan, like Lourdes, for example, in France, or Fatima in Portugal, that is visited by millions of people. But to sustain the site, we need to keep it as authentic as it is. Sustainability for us is protection of sites, security of sites, cleaning of the sites, to be clean, cleanness of the sites, and cleanness of the toilets, let's say. And number 2 is to have the local communities benefit directly from the number of tourists that come to the sites. I know that because we have 14.6% of our GDP as share of tourism sector, this is excellent for the economy and everybody benefits from that. But you need direct impact. You need local experiences. You need people to understand that if they protect the site, this is for the good of those people, for the good of the local communities that are living in the sites. To come back to Petra as well, Petra was inscribed on the World Heritage List of UNESCO back in '85, and we are trying our best today to sustain the site, although we have a good influx of numbers visiting the site. By the end of this month, I think we'll reach the 1 million, and then we'll go up. I'll stop here because I need to stick to the time.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for having set up the tone for this discussion. And you're absolutely right. Sustainability is also protecting the heritage. And I would like to address now to you, Minister Rodriguez, and welcome to Costa Rica, to IFTM after 3 years' absence. It is an honor to see you here. Your country, with the whole integral strategy of sustainable tourism, pura vida, if my Spanish is correct. Your goal is to be the first carbon neutral country in the world. So could you please tell us more about the history of sustainability for your tourism strategy?
Thank you very much. I would like to start saying that it's an honor for me and for the people of Costa Rica to have the chance to share our thoughts and our ideas with you tonight, this afternoon. It's a little bit hot here, and that is because of the climate change. And if we do not accept that the climate is changing, we can do nothing or we can do something. And that is exactly what Costa Rica has doing, okay? Sustainability emerges during the third stage of the Costa Rica tourist development model. The first stage was a rudimentary development during the 70s and the 80s of the last century. During the second stage, throughout the 80s and the 90s, Costa Rica began to establish itself thanks to several events and the initiation of international promotional campaigns with a nature-focused concept. When I began in this business a long time ago, in Costa Rica, we sold basically beaches, okay? The sun and sand product. But we say one thing: we don't sell attractions, we sell experiences, okay? We sell experiences, and that is the difference why we have decided to do something in regards to sustainability. In the early 90s, Costa Rica began to recognize that the growth of tourism was leaving an environmental footprint. That is how sustainability emerged in the third stage as a response of this impact, aiming to make tourism as non-invasive as possible and more balanced. Back then, we could have chosen to promote mass tourism focused in the sun and sand segment. However, the robust nature and natural attractions of the destination gained prominence in its development. Costa Rica has therefore opted for responsible and sustainable tourism, seeking for dispersion of business. We decided to build small hotels, not large hotels. We decided to seek dispersion of businesses that foster connections with local people. And that is very important. Any sustainability strategy, if it does not consider people and economy, social and economy, you are wasting your time. You are wasting your time. It has to have three axes: the ambience, the nature, the social, and the economic things. Okay. Then, in conjunction with several actors of the tourism sector, we decided to start a joint effort to develop the certification for tourism sustainability. This is an international certification recognized and allows businesses to enhance quality and competitiveness of their services and has a positive impact in visitor experience and in local communities. If we decide to establish this certification, it's because we are sure that without that certification and without the model that we started, we at this moment cannot offer the kind of product that we are offering. So that is the first part of my participation, and I will try to go further in the next two questions.
Thank you very much, Minister. And you are absolutely right. The sustainable travel is not about selling attractions. It's about selling experiences. And these experiences should be up to the challenges of today, should be up to the climate emergency we are facing right now. I invite you to travel to Europe now. We are in Cyprus, and this is a developed tourist destination. I know that, dear Minister, dear Kostas Koumis, that sustainability is at the very heart of your national tourism strategy. Could you please tell us more about the decision of implementing these sustainable actions and what these concrete actions are for you today?
Good afternoon, dear Lydia. Good afternoon, dear friends. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for this wonderful event. Very beneficial for every country, for every destination. And of course, I would like to congratulate you personally for your initiative to discuss this very hot topic. I will devote a few seconds to say something which I consider as important. I feel, as a representative of my country, that I'm connected with each person, each representative in this panel. With my counterpart from Jordan, the Honorable Minister Mr. Keshi, we are discussing as countries the possibility to establish joint packages offering to the public, to different sources, to different markets. And I hope that very soon we'll find a solution. With my counterpart from Costa Rica, although it's my first time, the first time we're meeting, probably the first time which a person, a representative of Cyprus, is sitting in a panel discussion with a representative from Costa Rica, I feel that they're connected as well. Why? According to recent studies, Cyprus has the best weather conditions in the world after the country of Costa Rica. But in order to maintain that, in order to be able to enjoy these wonderful weather conditions, we need to take actions to save, we need to take actions towards sustainability. We need to take actions to save the planet. And of course, we all know that is not only up to us, it's up to every citizen of the world. As about France, I will say that this year we're enjoying a tremendous increase from the French market. We have 153% increase in the total number of arrivals. That's our success. But the most important is that we know the French people coming to Cyprus, they are living very, very satisfied. And that's what we really enjoy. That's what makes us happier. So as about your question, the secret behind the success in our case is that we started, let's say, early. Between the years 2001 to 2004, as a country, we are in discussions with the European Union to become a full member state. We all know that the European Union started, let's say, very early towards this direction. And we took those times the right messages that we need to take actions to save the planet. We need to take action not to leave space for climate change. Climate change is a real threat, and we all feel it. Before the start of this panel discussion, we were discussing between ourselves, I mean the ministers, that yesterday the temperature in France was 27 Celsius, 27, and in Georgia was 22 only. You see, we already feel the climate change. Recently, we saw floods everywhere. In Italy, in Spain, in Libya, in China, in Greece. So we already live, we already unfortunately experience the climate change. So I'm going straight forward to your question. Nowadays, we have a strategy which in every chapter there is a reference to what we should do as a country, as a tourist destination, towards sustainability. We are trying to get every person involved. It is very, very important to educate people. Save the planet is not only a motto, it's something which every person needs to take action. Every one of us needs to take responsibility. So we are investing in people's awareness. We are investing in the industry awareness. As a ministry, we have several incentive schemes. In all the incentive schemes, we're trying to subsidize the industry to invest in more and more technology towards this direction, towards sustainability. My time is expiring. I will say more to the next session.
Thank you very much, and you are absolutely right. Responsible travel, our personal behavior should be complementary to government measures. It's up to each and every one of us to be responsible. We are now back to France, the country hosting a lot of events, the top tourist destination of all these years. And of course, the sustainability is at the heart of Destination France government plan. Caroline, could you please tell us more about the incentives, the reasons for the French government for putting this in the center of the reflection today?
Bonjour, Lydia. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So I'd see three reasons. A vision. What did it take to adopt that Destination France sustainable travel plan? A vision, facts and figures, and people. I'd call it sense and sensibility, and an opportunity. A vision and leadership. It goes back 6 years ago when President Macron took a personal initiative called Make Our Planet Great Again. I don't remember whether you remember that claim, but I was part of it at the time already. And I think that it's really a very personal vision and leadership by President Macron that because he is personally convinced that we should act on climate change and environment. The second reason is facts and figures and people. I call it sense and sensibility. Sense because common sense is when the travel industry accounts for 8% of the greenhouse gas emissions, you have to do something. When you're the international leading destination in terms of international travels, you have to take actions. And last but not least, people. We did organize a number of inquiries, and what we saw was that both visitors, international, domestic visitors, the local communities were expecting us to act. So that was the second reason. And last but not least, crisis as an opportunity, like the Chinese say. We had to build and set up a 2 billion euros plan to support the travel industry in France throughout the pandemic, and to the path to accelerate the recovery. We thought that, as President Macron says, en même temps, at the same time, we should accelerate. It was a very good opportunity to rebuild, to recover, and to transform the travel industry. So, three reasons.
Thank you very much, Caroline. And you are right. And like President Macron says, there is no planet B. So we are on the planet A, and we should work on it. And as they say, the success is not a destination. It's a journey. We are not here to speak only about the things that have been achieved, but also about the difficulties, the challenges, and the ways of improvement. So I'm addressing, once again, Your Excellency. You have achieved a lot, but as of today, what waves of improvement can you see? What are the main challenges you are facing now?
Let me tell you that colleagues spoke about figures and numbers. Figures and numbers are very, very important for us, for the economy. And I was asked the question by His Excellency, the Minister of Tourism in Costa Rica, on, everybody knows that 2019 was the anchor year for tourism worldwide, according to the World Tourism Organization. And he was comparing the numbers between now and 2019. I told him that we exceeded the numbers of 2019 by 30%. Same period of time compared to 2019, which is an achievement in terms of numbers and the revenue as well. Nevertheless, if we are to talk about challenges, we need to understand that the training and skilling and reskilling sometimes and upskilling of our people in the sector is one of the major challenges. Very, very important, because at the end of the day, you have neighboring countries that you will be competing with. Now, many would deceive themselves by saying, no, we cooperate, we don't compete. No, I'm telling you, we compete. I mean, some cities in Jordan compete on numbers within the same country. But we can also, to be sustainable, we can have joint projects between the neighboring countries. I can have joint projects with Lebanon, I can have Saudi Arabia and elsewhere. So again, sustainability is important. Challenges in terms of the staff that needs to be trained. It's not limited to waiters and waitresses. It goes on and on to the taxi drivers, to the Uber drivers, to the tour guides that need to be really well trained. The narrative that they use is also a challenge because it changes from one person to the other. The other thing that is also challenging, we are so proud, as I said, to have 15,000 archaeological sites in Jordan registered on our national register. This is a pride, but also it's a big challenge for me to continue the sustainability and the protection of the sites, because at the end of the day, some of the sites were there 2,000 years ago. So I'm not looking at the site to serve me for 100 years. I'm looking for the site to serve me for the coming 2,000 years, 3,000 years. The other challenge, which is also very important to address, this place speaks for itself. I'm not really successful to bring people to visit the site for the first time, because it is on the bucket list for many, many people that I know. When I served as ambassador for like 15 years of my life, everybody was telling me about Petra.
It's one of the 7 wonders of the world, of course.
Yes, 7 wonders of the world, and we are proud of the site because it's Nabatean. It is an Arab architecture, it is an Arab engineering, it's an Arab culture, it's an Arab civilization, finance and trade. So it's not only the site, it's not the architecture that you see, it is a civilization. We're very proud of it. But again, to get back to the main thing, the challenge. The challenge today that is facing me and facing my colleagues in the Jordan Tourism Board, and the head is here, our my able brother, is to bring people to visit again. So I need Jordan to be a destination where it is frequently visited. Not once, not twice, but 3 times and 4 times. This is a challenge, and we are addressing it.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And of course, like you said, human factor is really important for every one of us to be aware of the responsible travel. I'm addressing to you now, Your Excellency. You've told us about the history of your sustainable strategy dating back to the 70s, which is really impressive. So now you have a insight. And looking from today, what difficulties have you maybe underestimated when developing this strategy?
As I said in my previous intervention, Costa Rica implemented the certification for tourism sustainability. At a certain point of the process, tourism companies complained that they were taking many more actions than what the standard was evaluating them for. And so we initiated a process to listen to them, and as the sector committed to a national vision, because more dedicated beyond just following a norm, so a process of updating the standard was required. the moral is, at this time, sustainability in tourism is not just about greening business, but how to benefit communities and making social impact, generating opportunities, equality, protecting and promoting cultural heritage. Also about risk management, which is, I mean, we are talking in this case about enterprises and raising awareness amongst the inhabitants how to put in practice the sustainability. My last words in this case is never, but truly never, make a certification process without the participation of those that will put in practice the standards. I mean, you cannot do a strategy behind a desk. I mean, you have to do a strategy taking in consideration all the efforts that the private sector and some other institution of the government are doing. So that are my final words in this case. I mean, never, and I'm going to repeat, never put in practice a certification without the participation of the other actors for that certification.
Thank you very much, and you're absolutely right. Obtaining a certificate, even the best one, is not about just having a beautiful paper to boast about on an international arena. It is to have this real willingness to be responsible, to develop sustainable tourism. Your Excellency, Mr. Gomes, you told us about the challenges a little bit. What are the main challenges that are you facing right now? You've told us about the importance of human factor. Is it the same like for Jordan, for you?
Of course, it's very important to make every citizen activate towards the direction of the sustainable pathway. I was just started saying before that we invested in education. We invested in the tourist industry itself. For me, personally, I believe that this is one of the secrets. It is very, very important to go straight forward to the heart of the tourist industry, to the hotel industry. Like I said, as an organization, as a ministry, we offer every year several incentive schemes. In all the incentive schemes, we try to encourage the hotel industry to invest in green transition, to invest in technology, and not only technology, to move towards sustainability. One single example, in a few weeks, we'll announce as Ministry of Tourism one new incentive scheme which will be directed to the hotel industry and to the restaurant industry as well. They will have a chance to purchase food composters, which will be subsidized by 50% by the government. Why that? Because probably it's the best way to push them towards sustainability in a faster way, much faster than probably they should to move. So investing in the heart of the tourist industry is always very, very important. But I will take my answer in a different direction. It is very, very important for every government, for every politician to take decisions responsibly as well. I will say that in Cyprus, in 2017, we did a very, very big study within the framework of the Cyprus tourist strategy. And the study shows that Cyprus could accept 6.8 million visitors per year. Those times we had only 3 million visitors. And like I said, the study shows that Cyprus could accept 6.8 million visitors. We are only a small island in the eastern side of the Mediterranean Sea. And we decided that probably what the study shows is not correct. We are politicians. The tourist ministers are not only politicians, are managers as well, and they need to chase numbers sometimes. But at the same time, we need to take decisions responsibly. And as a country, we decided those times, I was part of this decision as well, that no, this is not the right pathway. We don't need so many visitors. Probably we should target less visitors, but qualitative visitors. Okay? Why? Because, like I said, we are a small country. We don't have water in abundance in Cyprus. So we need to take actions to protect the natural resources as well. Protecting the natural resources is very, very important. We need to have that in our mind every single second.
You're absolutely perfect respecting the timing, and you're right. Accepting more does not always mean being better, and making choices can be really difficult. Being back to France, this is a successful tourist destination. But for you, Caroline, what are the challenges for making it a successful, sustainable tourist destination?
The various ministers put it, I think that the main challenge is the human factor. We have to fight what I call the back to normal spirit. And as you know, the travel industry was badly hit by the pandemic. They lost everything, their business, money, their employees, their customers. So it's only normal that once the borders are reopened, they want to go back to business. So this is the first factor that you have to fight, which means that first you need to strike the right balance between the path to recovery and the path to a sustainable transition. That's key, because you can't work against the travel industry. You have to work together with the travel industry, which means cooperation is key, because you have to raise awareness, you have to align mindsets. And last but not least, apart from striking that balance and cooperation, you have to work together with people, meaning visitors, to raise awareness, and working together with local communities, because in France, we have an issue. If you read French newspapers, you might be surprised, as a leading travel destination, to read all those newspapers articles regarding over-tourism, tourism is a problem. We should be proud of our travel industry. No, we are criticizing over-tourism. So you have to work together with the population for acceptation and to find solutions together, both with the industry and the inhabitants.
Thank you very much, Caroline. You are absolutely right. We should be proud, but still aware of what still needs to be done. Time flies by very quickly, so we spoke about history and heritage, we spoke about challenges, and to end on a positive note, if I may say, would you give some piece of advice, some best practices you could share with the countries who are just at the beginning of their sustainable tourism strategies, Your Excellency?
I can give a very quick advice. Be clever in using the heritage that you have inherited from your ancestors. And I'll give a very quick example on that. We have heritage and antiquities that date back to 9,000 years. And my business card represents one of these things.
It's one of the most beautiful business cards I ever saw.
Yes, this is a human statue that we claim that is the oldest on this planet Earth. One of those statues is today located at the Louvre. And the Louvre is home to, I think, 37 or 38,000 pieces of archaeology. The oldest among them is this piece, the Jordanian piece. So we go from the Stone Age, and then we come to the Bronze Age, and then we come to the Iron Age, and then we come to the Greeks, to the Romans, Byzantines, and then we come to the Umayyads, Abbasides, Ottomans, and then we come today to the Hashemite era. Why I'm saying this and just listing this? Because some of the civilizations that passed through the Jordanian land were occupiers. We did not only preserve their ruins, we kept their history, we kept their heritage, we protected the heritage, and we were clever enough to use it. So my advice is to use it well and to preserve it well. Not to forget to mention the Nabateans as well. So they were part of our history, and they're still part of the history of Jordan. My advice is to continue using and acknowledging the history of the ancestors. Because in some places, and I go back to tolerance here, in some places, the history of the ancestors or the occupiers or the colonizers is diminished because people don't want to remember that those people came to their land and occupied it. They're occupiers, we understand, but we will use them. And I know that the Arab history in some parts of the world is not really recognized well. Today, if we speak about tolerance, I can tell you that one of my sites, which is Jamal, a city that will be inscribed next year on the World Heritage List of UNESCO. Another site, which is also Rasas, we call it Rasas. This is also a city that was originally Nabatean, occupied by the Romans, and then the Byzantines. They built churches. When the Muslims and Arabs came to the Jordanian land, occupied part of it, if we can call it this way, they did not only preserve the churches, they built double the number of these churches. So if you speak about tolerance in history, this is the real meaning of tolerance, the Arab-Muslim traditions of keeping the heritage that they inherited from their ancestors. They protected it and they used it.
Thank you very much. Was it Winston Churchill who said, people who does not know his past does not have a future. So for us to have future, we should be clever and respectful of our heritage. Your Excellency, what piece of advice can your destination, Costa Rica, with such a long history of sustainability, give to the countries just at the very beginning of their sustainable tourism strategy?
Thank you. There are quick ways, I would say, to start a sustainable strategy, but they may not be sustainable in the long run, okay? You are not sustainable because you recycle mirror or plastic. It's more than that. And any country that would like to develop a long-run strategy in sustainability should ensure that the strategy persists even though the government administration changes. I mean, it has to be a national strategy, not a government strategy. And that is the key factor in our case. I mean, it has been a strategy that have persists even though the government has changed during the last 50 years. And the other thing is that the private sector, as I said before, it has to have a very valuable participation in the process. Not only companies, chambers, and some other institutions of the government and the private sector. And they have to share a common view, a common value of what they think or the country think is a sustainable strategy. In the last years, we have developed a very interesting process to the mise industry. So we said in a certain way, we said, what can we do to differentiate our maize sector than the other maize sectors of the other countries? And we developed a specific tool to measure the footprint of a specific event, okay? And to give them, I mean, to the attendants of that event, the chance to offset the footprint and do something for the world. It's not just for the country, for the world. And at this time, I would say that we have a great success in that case, and our maize sector is doing very well. As a final comment, we want to thank you to my colleagues and to you for the chance to participate. And if you have any question, just let me know. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Now back to Cyprus. Mr. Komis, what are your piece of advice to the countries just at the beginning of their way?
Before I answer to your question, Lydia, I like the idea which, let's say, was an initiative of my Jordanian counterpart to talk about the past. Many people all over the world, they know that Cyprus was a British colony for many years. Actually, it was a British colony between 1878 and 1860. But they don't know that Cyprus was a French colony as well. We were under Lusignan's family between the 12th century to the 16th century. And the family of Lusignans left very historical monuments in Cyprus, which I would like to invite everyone to visit the country and get and feel this experience, because like we all say, it's all about experience. Second, I enjoyed watching again my Jordanian counterpart showing his business cards. It is very, very intelligent, your idea to include a monument in the business cards. It's an honor of you. It's a good marketing action. Let's be realistic. We didn't think about that. But as a country, as Ministry of Tourism, we decided very recently to terminate the usage of paper-based business cards, because it is very important for every one of us to move, like we said many times, to move towards the sustainable pathway. So reducing the use of paper, we help the planet. We support these initiatives. So my two suggestions are the following, and are so simple. Investing in people. UNWTO advised us this year through the motto they presented recently in Saudi Arabia to invest in people. We can't do anything if we don't invest in people. We need to invest in every single age group, in every professional group. Investing in people is a must. We need to invest in people, we need to invest in education, we need to invest in the people working in the tourist industry a lot. So the second advice from my side is each country should provide to the industry targeted financial incentives. For me, that works, and that helps the destinations themselves. It is very, very important for every one of us to remember that the number of people all over the world which are taking seriously into consideration the actions taken by the destinations towards sustainability is increasing day by day. There are many people all over the world which they are not willing to book accommodation to hotels which they don't have sustainable practices, which they are using plastics a lot. There are many, many people which they don't want to see these kind of actions, and they move towards sustainability every single day. So it's up to us. It's up to us to bring the change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's up to us. It's our common responsibility to preserve our planet Earth. Caroline, you've told us about the government Destination France plan, about the concrete actions you've been taking. What about the good practices you've been implementing, and maybe some piece of advice to other countries?
Yes, I shall keep it quick and sweet because we're already running out of time. So 5 takeaways. Of course, obviously, money. Funding is key to help SMEs to adapt themselves. Money. Second, data. I think that data is key because you need to assess the progress you're making. You need to set goals, which means that you need a reference. And last but not least, you need to measure whether you're improving or not on the various goals you've set. So money, data. The third one is experiment, innovative solutions, bottom-up solutions. That's what we're doing with the Destination France plan. That's what Autour France is doing, working together with startups, with destinations, with private companies, and supporting them, experimenting innovative solutions. So experience. 4, once you've identified innovative solutions and best practices, you should raise awareness. You should share those best practices. That's what we're intending to do, and we're about to establish an online platform to share those best practices with the travel industry. So it's best practices by the travel industry for the travel industry. And last but not least, it's cooperation, the human factor. Not only investing in people, but cooperating. You need to align, to embark the whole chain of value of the travel industry. It means so many actors with so many different interests. But as you said, Mr. Minister, it's not a government plan. It has to be the nation's plan. Not only the travel industry, not only the local authorities. It has to embark the whole nation, because local communities, employees, inhabitants are stakeholders, very important stakeholders that you should take into account, as well as visitors. So that was the last one, cooperation.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Good 5 perfect tips, best practices. And you're right, time lacks, unfortunately, to share everything you had wanted to, but we still have time for 1 or 2 questions. If you'd like to ask a question to one of the speakers here at the panel today, or you would like to share some incentives, some insights from your side. So please, there is a microphone here in the room. If there is 1 or 2 questions. I think it means all was perfectly clear, and I would like to thank you for the honor of being here. It's been a really warm discussion, and when I say warm, it is not just because the month of September and the beginning of October is actually the warmest one during all the observation period, but because of all the bridges, of all the connections we could create here. Invest in people, respect your past, and look into the future. We would like this international panorama to become an annual meeting, and we would like to see you here in 1 year, from September 17th to September 19th, 2024. Thank you very much.